Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Shay, and this is Model Mom. So before I start talking today, I want to state this. As I've told you guys before, I am active duty military, but there's going to be a lot of views that I give that are that of my personal views. This is the current unit that I work with, the Essex, but anything that I say does not reflect upon the Navy's views or the Essex views specifically. So please remember that as I move forward. So today I kind of wanted to talk to you guys because I was talking to my mom and we were just random talk. Sometimes we just go down rabbit holes, and we ended up talking about generations and how different the generations are. And yeah, conversations happen a lot, but I guess there's an interpretation that's being thrown out there that the newer generation is lazy. And I think some are, but I think there's lazy people in every generation. But from my experience in the military, it's less lazy and more overly questioning. Everything is a why. And as a mother of teen boys, I find myself having to do a lot of why. Now, every generation always wants their kids to have a better life, but I feel like maybe us millennials kind of went a little too far. We didn't like what our parents did, so we were like, oh, we want to make sure this doesn't happen to the kid. So then we give our kids maybe a little too much free rein in the attempt to allow them to learn processes. But instead, it just became why, but why, but why? All right, chill, dude. Just how about you go do the thing and then come back? Or ask me two valid whys, or I guess it's really my assumption of what's valid, but ask me thought-provoking whys. My mom's heating up food. I know you just saw her run across the room, but you know, let's start with what exactly are you trying to get out of your why? You want to know just because you want to know? Because if it's just for knowledge purposes, then let's do what you're being asked to do, and then we can sit down and talk about the knowledge portion. If it's for understanding, then ask those thought-provoking, understanding type of questions. And then that way I now understand where you're coming from. And I have to deal with this at work all the time. And there are a few sailors that'll work for me and they come from a very strict background. So their parents are used to telling them what to do and they do it. So my mom thinks the camera's pointing the other way. She doesn't know that her reflection was right here in this mirror. So I will have sailors that will just go and do. Okay, IT1 says go and do. I'm going to go and do. And then there's some that will grumble and moan and complain, but they'll still go do. And then I have those that are straight up, but why? Why I gotta do that? Or, well, you know, and it's just, it's wild to me. So in the process of the conversation, I was like, well, I once heard someone say that it's not that the younger generation is lazy or that they don't want to work. It's that they have a higher sense of value for themselves. And then the conversation rolled into what's the difference between our generation and my mom's generation and my grandparents and so on and so forth, where companies expect people to work and just blindly dedicate their lives to a corporation, but not really get anything in return. And that's what a lot of people are going through nowadays. They've dedicated so much time, but the company's not really there for them and their family. And I can't necessarily say that every company was like that during my grandmother's time, or even, you know, some of my uncles who are between my grandma and my mom's age, but there was more sense of team, and we're in this to grow and to build. And so I will say this, the point of this long little story is that those of you that are not considered Gen Zers, that are older, again, I'm 37 years old, it's 2022, and I'm 37, but I was raised by a mother who is just barely 20 years older than me, but her spirit and soul and how she conducted herself was much wiser because of what she went through. So I grew up almost with a older mindset. But I say this, we need to kind of step outside of ourselves sometimes and try to understand the younger generation. Try to find a middle. There should still be hard lines as to this is my expectation of you and this is what needs to be done. But if we are not willing to learn, if we're not willing to understand where they're coming from, then we as individuals are going to continue to stifle and we're not going to grow, obviously. But it's going to affect our day-to-day life. It's going to affect your business, and it's going to really affect the loved ones around you, because they're just going to kind of see you as somebody who's unwilling to yield. But again, it goes both ways. So for any young person that's also watching, yeah, you can have whatever mindset you want, but you also need to respect that the other person has a different mindset. It's not my thought and your thought. And if it's not my thought, then it's not real. No, there needs to be a conversation. And those that are in the workforce, know when why is enough. Figure out why you're asking why and go do the job. And if you want more clarity because you're like, this doesn't feel right, or this feels wrong, then cool, ask those questions. But if it's just like, well, why do I got to do it? Remember, you're getting paid to do this job. This is part of your life. And I know that's such an odd thing to say, but I do try to do this in my own job. Again, I've been in 18 years in the Navy for 18 and a half years. March will be 19 years. So I've had to learn to be a little bit more moldable. And when I joined, my predecessors had to be a little bit more moldable. But their version of moldable and their version of lenient on us is not the same as what it is now. And there is gonna come a point where if we don't hold or toe the line and hold certain values that are true to your company, your corporation, your entity, whatever it is, then it is going to plummet because you're allowing too many whys. So I know that was a lot, and it probably sounds crazy, and maybe for some people's minds, it's very contradictory, but I said what I'm saying, and I hope this is beneficial to somebody. Yeah, just know, if you guys ever want a story of what it's like for me on a day-to-day basis, I can definitely give you those types of stories. I have hundreds, if not thousands of them, and I'm stressed every single day, and it's so weird. I have kids that are barely older than my own actual children at home. So there are times where I come home and my actual kids see it stress on my face, and they'd be like, oh, how are your work kids today? So if you're looking for a story, I got you. Just let me know. What kind of questions do you have for me? What would you like to know? Are you looking to join the military? Are you open to different perspectives? What do you want to hear from me? Thanks for coming along for this ride, this journey, this talk, this ramble, whatever you want to call it. I hope you have a great day. Happy holidays. Love you guys.